Jesus is King in stores now. It's midnight. Shit. Imagine if I don't know what's better. What's better? Like what's better, listening to Kanye first or listening to the pod first? You want me to drop some gospel on you, and that will make you get your fix either way? I mean, it's definitely Christianity season, straight up. Thanks to Kanye.
And the pod, though. I mean, I think like we're going to talk about how the pod has influenced like larger, more mainstream culture a lot in this episode. Yeah, specifically Kanye. I don't want to give anything away, but there's no like, I don't know. Was Kanye like into God before the podcast? I'm going to go ahead and answer my own question and say no.
Yeah,
a brand new interest for him.
He was like college dropout. Kanye was like, talking about God in the way that like. I don't know, we pretend that we're actually punks, but he wasn't like truly, he wasn't true till death.
So Jesus Walks was like us being like a tragedy or whatever. Like it was just.
Yeah, exactly. He was being
sort of wrapping ourselves in the flag. Yeah.
Which is still, that's still a very powerful thing. I mean, Jesus Walks spoke to a lot of people, and it's a huge song for him. There's power in being a poser. I'm not going to deny that. I don't want to erase our efforts,
Poser power is very real and very sick. Because you don't have to work for it, though. You have to work for other types of power.
I think you do have to work for it. I think it's actually easier to not be a poser than it is to be a poser, because when you're a poser, you're just constantly like, yeah, I think I've heard of that. Oh yeah, I know what that is. But like, if you're too authentic, then you don't have to put any effort into it. So I don't know. I think I'm pro poser is what has come out of this.
That's interesting. So yeah, the posers are doing the real labor.
Exactly.
We cannot erase poser labor.
Posing is extreme emotional labor. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's intense. But yeah. So Kanye's like full on like more Christian than Switchfoot now. He's like straight up like the Christian rapper. Move over Lecrae or whatever.
What? How do people in my mind, like you're tapped into like today's Christian community too, which I don't think is true, but maybe you've heard from like a family member, either family or family. Like how do the Christians really feel about this like pivot into like serious religion?
I have no idea, because I actually think that Kanye already was influencing Christianity before this, just even by virtue of like the pose dog nature of it all. I mean, there's this Instagram that I think it's called Preacher Sneakers or something, where it's like this kid takes screenshots of like viral megachurch preachers and then like prices out how much their outfit is worth, and they're always wearing like $3,000 rare sneakers and shit. And then it became this very controversial thing, and he was kind of doing it like just as a joke, but then it became this huge kind of debate and argument, and everyone was getting mad at each other about it, because it's like, I guess, I kind of think it's kind of weird to be wearing like a $20,000 outfit to preach at church, but either way,
and then this got adapted into, it was optioned by David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, and of course, turned into an HBO series, right?
Righteous Gemstones, yeah. That's so good. But I think Kanye, this new Kanye feels like it's even more Christian than that. So it's kind of like, it's even beyond Hillsong, and it's like people are making fun of him because he's so Christian now. So I think it's pretty interesting. But that being said, if you listen to the new Kanye album before you listen to the new Blink-155, then you're a fucking piece of shit. That's what I'm going to say.
You're not a poser. It's not. This is not. Don't sort of mistake the earlier pro poser statements as being pro you, because you're erased by us to us.
You're a sniveling piece of shit, and you're dead to me.
I did watch the like weird Pinhole Sunday service Coachella live stream, which was like one of those things that I felt simultaneously like so dumb for watching and so grateful to be viewing, because it is like, especially as someone who has zero experience inside of a church, like kind of incredible, just like the way the music like flows and feels, and the reinterpretation of his of his own songs, and the clips of it that are in the David Letterman episode that he's in are also like really weird and compelling. And I suspect I will definitely listen to the Kanye album before I listen to this episode. So
Right,
I guess that makes me on the wrong side of the pod, but on the right side of God. And
I don't know. I think you made the pod, so I think it's fine. I think you're allowed to not listen to it, because also you haven't listened. I don't think you've heard a guest spot or a exclusive in like 6 months. Like, I'm surprised you can even remember what this podcast is when each week rolls around.
No, it's where, like, you and I get together and I hear about Montreal and UPS, and then 2 hours later I sort of exit this fog, and then people tweet things at me that make no sense for like 6 hours.
Yeah, we haven't been talking about UPS too much lately, but I'm still mad at them, and they've still fucked up. But I've got nothing else to add, really. So fuck them.
Right. That's sort of still, unfortunately, the ceiling. And then also, like, has it been disappointing to realize the limits of weaponizing your podcast fandom? Like, the people obviously they tweeted at UPS, like, people were engaged, but it didn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, I do like knowing that we kind of just like have been annoying someone while they're at work and kind of wasting their time. I mean, I think that's good. And it reminded me of remember when like someone did a death threat on, was it Mr. Peanut? And then everyone was shaming them for doing that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, not that I'm saying we should do death threats on UPS, but I do think that like harassing brands is a good idea. Definitely.
Yeah. Harassing brands is always, always funny, and I think.
And I'm saying that as someone.
I also just want to.
I'm saying that as someone who runs a brand page for Blink-155, and I'm constantly harassed around the clock, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Indy 88 has a new bus shelter ad. So they used to have one, maybe like 9 months ago, the eastbound 504 streetcar shelter, and that's been gone for some time. And so I've recovered a little bit. And recently I was headed in the other direction, and the westbound 504 at the end of my street now has a different Indy 88 poster where the morning show specifically, both of these posters have been for the morning show, and they glower at me while I wait to, travel. But it's good to like be able to tap into that rage again from time to time,
Yeah, it's really good. But moving along, you're kind of like, I'm a cat person, I guess, at this point, because I just by nature of I own a cat. I'm obsessed with a cat. My cat.
Yeah,
I love my cat.
Yeah.
And you, I think, are more of a dog person, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think I've like taken shots at cats on the pod before. I don't try to hide. It's definitely a part of my personality that I market.
Yeah.
It's part of my positioning.
I have been thinking more about how like cats are very indifferent to people that own them, whereas dogs have this like crazy loyalty. I
love trying to figure out like where. It's like a riddle. No, sorry. Right, it's a very organic transition. Yeah. just two friends having a super normal conversation.
Well, this is no less confusing than talking about Indy 88 bus ads to someone who hasn't listened to all 3,000 hours.
That's true. That was so long ago.
Yeah. It was like, as you were saying it, I was like, should we explain what we're talking about? Nah, fuck it. It doesn't matter.
No, I'm going to talk about cats.
Yeah, cats are very like indifferent, but then dogs, it's like not only do you own the dog, but it feels like the dog owns you in a way, And then it got me thinking. What?
I'm always worried. Like, occasionally, I want to like riff with you, but then I get really worried that I'm going to step on the pun accidentally. So, exactly. No, yes, go ahead.
You're nowhere near it yet. I mean, this is
I said accidentally. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah,
I would never. No,
we do plan these ahead of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like as if the dog also owns its owner, so to speak. They have this sort of symbiotic relationship, and I don't really know what that word means, but it just felt like it should go there right now. But yeah, so and then it got me thinking, like, when animals act in movies, like when they get an animal to go in a movie, especially dogs, you can really tell they do kind of fall in love with co-stars. And then I was thinking, there's that movie with Owen Wilson where the dog dies, and not only did they hire the dog to play in the movie, but the dog had to fall in love with its owner in a way. Like you see on the movie, you see Marlboro Man. Are you cutting out?
Man.
Did the connection cut out?
Oh my God. Oh. I was thinking when I was typing in the episode name to start recording, I was like, 120, like, oh my God, so close to 155, and I was like, wait, no, it's 170. I was like, still about a year.
Yeah, it's still about a year. And it's either going to be songs like this that are pure pieces of shit or massive hits. So either way, we're never going to have an easy episode ever again.
No, I was thinking that I feel like the last couple, just because, I'll open up GarageBand and immediately, the most recent file pops up, which because I'm not, recording tons of sick demos anymore because I'm not angsty, and 17 is typically our last episode. So you just end up seeing things like Heart's All Gone interlude, and you're like, God, what the fuck? Like, it really is this, like, just like in the moment before you start, this kind of reminder of like, just how, like, honestly beautiful and stupid this endeavor is. I never want to lose sight of that.
I never want it to end. I hope that I don't want them to release more new songs. I want them to find more kind of just like when like the Stooges will release a box set where every grunt is somehow on there. Like, it's like 75 tracks on each CD, and it's like Iggy Pop clearing his throat, and people, or like when they leaked that Radiohead thing. I want more of that from this era. Like, I want to do an episode just on Tom DeLonge clearing his throat or blowing his nose. I think we could do it.
But it is like an official track on a box set, and we have to acknowledge its existence.
We have to, yeah. So, I mean, we did, and that's kind of the thing is like, there has been some question as to whether or not the band is listening to the pod, and I don't know yet, but I do want to say if they are, just go ahead and release like 50 tracks of just like
that's how we'll
Travis
know.
Breathing, yeah. Just I mean, that's got to be good for your streaming numbers too if you just put something like that out there.
That's why, I mean, this is why every album is like 20 tracks again or whatever. It's an attempt to just sort of juke streaming numbers. So, yeah, this is like not only a way of sort of winking to us, but also, I mean, just solid business advice from the smartest business pod on the internet, Blink 155.
We really know what we're doing. But yeah,
absolutely.
So, I mean, I'd never listened to this song until about 5 minutes ago.
No, same. So the song we're talking about is... we're talking about
Marlboro Man.
I had a lot of trouble spelling it and saying it by the band Blink-182. Josiah, how do you feel about this cigarette
version,
mark anthem?
Which, yeah, instead of Sig Mark, I'm trying. How could you make Mark longer to just say cigarette?
Yeah, cigarette Marcus was all I could think of.
Yeah.
yeah. Really give it the reverence that it deserves.
So at first I had only listened to the Fly Swatter version. When I talked to our guest, I'd only heard that one. I love how there's all these like janky skips and cuts on it. But then today I listened to like
fucked up sounding.
Then I didn't realize until today, but there's a version of it on demo number 2 as well, which is like way more clean. But then it's like they bothered re-recording it, but they still didn't have the foresight to be like, let's get rid of this really embarrassing, fucking terrible like second wave coffee shop jazz at the start. Like the intro is just disgusting.
But that's because if you were a pop punk band at that time, you had to have a song that was weird and jazzy like that to like let people know that you had heard jazz before. Like, I really do feel like this was a thing of I mean, this is like it's obviously worse than, but it's no different to me than Chick Magnet. Which is like, why should a song
it's
sound
absolutely
like that?
Chick Magnet. And this is not worse than Chick Magnet because I will I will defend MXPX to the death, and I know my good friend and brother in heaven, Kanye, also will now. But Chick Magnet is fucking terrible. Chick Magnet is a disgusting, awful song. I'll go on record saying that. I don't care what kind of psycho MXPX fans out there.
Everyone who likes MXPX, like, and maybe this is like people just assume that if you like Blink, you have to like all the small things or something. But in my mind, like, it's conscripted into your fandom, and that is not the case.
No, definitely not. In fact, there's even on Let It Happen, the MXPX B-sides compilation. I can't remember what the song's called, but there's a different song that opens with kind of like jazzy bass and like the drumming, and then it cuts into like a way sicker pop punk song, and it's so much better than fucking Chick Magnet, the piece of shit song Chick Magnet. But I think also maybe this weird jazz thing is because like I don't think it's just to tell people that you like jazz. I think in pop culture at the time it was like funny or something, or like think about like what the Ren and Stimpy theme song sounds like. It's like it sounds like Stevie Ray Vaughan playing a bad jazz standard. I don't know why. That's just like at the time it was like the funniest thing was to have like 1950s Leave It to Beaver artwork and then like terrible early 90s cheesy jazz and then somehow be punk also.
Right. I mean, okay, all of that scans for me, but I also wonder if hear me out, if there's like some elements of kind of like class at play here, right? Which is we're mostly talking about pop punk bands in the early 90s, which mostly came from like well-to-do suburbs. And generally, if you were going to like a nice school in a well-heeled suburb, you probably had, great athletics, but you also had like, a great, band program or something. And these were like the songs when you transitioned out of being in like orchestra or like concert band that you'd actually get to like shred on. Right. So if you were playing bass or drums or whatever, and you were in like stage band or whatever it was at your school, these were like the cool fucking songs to play. And you recognized like that they were intrinsically not cool. Like Putting on the Ritz is not like a shredding jam, but because that was kind of like what you and your pals did in one context as sort of like kids going to these, nice schools or whatever, that maybe then that just became, because for me, I think of this as like just one of the things that you used to do when you got behind a drum kit to fuck around was go, and then like, the bass player can kind of just walk along with you. And it's like, it's just like a fun way to fuck around with your friends before you've like figured out that your jams can sound more like Primus or whatever,
Oh God. Well, the other thing is like Mike Herrera is a way better bass player. I'm going to go ahead and say it, throw down the gauntlet. And so when Mike Herrera is doing like funny jazz things, it at least is like the bass line in this jazz part is so stupid and boneheaded that it's like, it's somehow making it worse. Like it's just like not only are they doing the dumb jazz juxtaposition, but it's also so inept that it's just like, and also it just feels like it's about 7 minutes long. I don't know how long it is, but it's too fucking long.
It's at least half the song. And so I listened to both versions and accidentally, and it had the same reaction. Like I listened to one at work today that was pretty clean, and then I started listening to the shitty one at home just now. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, because it sounds like Tom's vocals are literally being run backwards somehow. Like it's really shitty in a way that's like kind of confusing, but it still has like, I literally like sort of scrubbed through the jazz part because I was like, this can't be right. Like,
it's like 3 minutes long and it feels way too long.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the thing is,
did you not have any like jazzy songs like in your like high school band? Like I don't remember what the name of your first band was, but like you didn't have anything where you went
No, I didn't. But I did play bass in band class in school. So
you could take that fucking thing for a walk, eh?
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. But the thing was, there was too many bassists in our class, and so the teacher was just like, half of you have to play tuba, and we had to rotate, and so he didn't teach us how to play, so just like every second week we would just be like holding a tuba and trying to make it like make a sound, but we didn't know how. and then the rest of the time I would just get in trouble because I figured out how to play the riff to The Kids Aren't Alright by The Offspring on bass, and I would just like play that instead of playing whatever.
I mean, that's it. Cool. You already learned the only thing that you needed to know how to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
It's such a good riff.
I could even see Mike Dirnt like doing something wicked on top of this gross drum thing. But I think Mark just Mark's not good at this, and it's fine. He's really good at, doing like a fairly solid straight ahead pop punk song, but he's not good at doing like the jazz wank. And so but it is a classic pop punk move. So I guess I still respect it. But I just wanted to point out, in case, I don't know, I don't think anyone actually listens to these songs before these episodes, which is even more funny. I mean, imagine just never hearing any of this and then listening to us talk about it.
I think that's definitely the experience of, like, at the very least, friend of the pod, Justin Taylor, who we've talked about a lot. Like, I don't think he has ever heard, like, maybe in passing, like at a bar. But like, I don't think it's like a part of his like musical diet, but the pod is like, unfortunately, a part of his life.
I know I know of so many people. In fact, if you are someone who actually listens to the song before it plays, let us know. And I'd love to collect that data for some reason. I just need more projects to do with it.
I want to see what the avies for all the people who say they listen to the songs before they listen to the pod look like. I want to get a sense of who you weirdos are.
We should do one of those, like what magazines do at the end of the year, like a survey of the listeners and just collect data for some reason.
Totally.
Seems like something you would know how to do, and also maybe how to sell. How would we sell it to a third party? That might be a good idea.
Yeah, it would be like, if you wanted, global data on a very tiny handful of sick freaks on the internet.
It's just absolute psychos. But anyways, if you have heard...
But really empathetic people.
If you have heard this and you thought, oh, Marlboro Man, that's from Fly Swatter, you've probably heard like the very insane, it sounds like the Avalanches, like the cut up fucking version. But then on demo number 2, I mean, so they released demo number 2 in 93. They only handed it out to their families, and then they just like were like, fuck this, and then they made Buddha instead. But they decided to open demo number 2 with Marlboro Man, meaning it opened with the cleaner version of the shitty jazz part. But what I think is really interesting about demo number 2 is that there is actually some sick Mark and Tom action. So I'm going to play that for a sec. Here we go.
Sick.
I guess I should listen to the dog say. Here's how the streets get picked every day.
Like that. That's not on the original, and it does sound really good with both of their voices at the same time. Just these little teens that they were.
Yeah, you playing that in isolation, I'm like, wait, this is good, except I don't really remember liking it,
Yeah. Well, there is, I mean, once again, we could say the thing we do every time about how there's the seed of what was to come, but there's a pretty good riff. There's kind of a weird mid-tempo, like almost jawbreaker-y pop punk song, but then it does this thing that reminds me of like a hockey song. It goes like boom boom boom, the riff does or something. It sounds so stupid. Like, definitely that's something that every teen does once in a pop punk song. They just make it go bum bum bum, and then they're like, oh, this sounds like the fucking organist at a Flames game. I can't do this.
And that's, I think it's worth pointing out, that is specifically how every teen feels when they play it. Like, whether or not they've ever even thought about the Calgary Flames before, there's just something in the soul of every pop punk bass player that says, little Flamesy.
So, exactly.
And they just know.
I think I had a Calgary Flames jersey when I was like 8 years old and lived in Scotland, like before I lived in Western Canada. I think I had one when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure, because when I moved to Calgary, I was like, why does that look so familiar? And I think I had one when I was a kid, maybe. So it's a little.
Do you think that was like fate connecting you to the city of Calgary?
Maybe. It might be. But anyways, let's look at these lyrics, which I love because no one has figured out.
Fuck?
Let's not do the lyrics yet, because we've been talking about the song for so long. I forgot to say why we're doing it this week, which is, of course, because of Sigmark. Yeah. It's Sigmark.
So I Ashley was like, "What song are you doing today?" And I was like, "Oh, well, we're doing Marlboro Man."
You can't say the word Marlboro, which is, by the way, a neighborhood in Calgary, Marlboro.
Is it?
Marlboro Mall. Yeah.
Marlboro Mall.
But yeah, it's like the sketchiest place in
They
Calgary.
just sell
Marlboro
cigarettes. Like, it just it seems like a weird place to go to the Gap.
I don't even know if they have a Gap. They have like sirens or like like the shittiest stores that you can get in a mall, and then they have
Right.
like a giant Walmart. I don't know. Marlboro
I was going to say it
Mall.
would be like the Galleria in Toronto, but the Galleria does not have a Walmart. The Galleria is like literally just a lot of discount electronic shops for some reason.
Yeah, it has that energy, but then also, yeah,
Also Walmart energy.
yeah, exactly.
So Ashley was like, "Yeah, what are you doing?" Which I was like, "Why are you asking?" I was like, "You don't care. You don't care which song it is."
She's humoring you.
Yeah, I was just like, "Don't pretend." And then I was like, "You see this thing about Sigmark?" And she was like, "Yeah, wait, what the fuck is it again?" It's like she sees it all happening, but like isn't damaged enough to be particularly invested.
Invested, yeah.
And so I was like, well, the thing is, like, Josiah always talks about, because there's all these sick photos of Mark, like, back in the day, like, the whole band, and, like, Mark's always smoking, and he looks so fucking cool. Some people just look so cool when they smoke. And, of course, everyone knows, yes, but some people just look
I
super cool
mean,
when they
everyone
smoke.
also does. Literally, all the
Yeah.
teens at Marlboro Mall, they look so cool.
I'm sure, yeah. And
You know
I
what's
was like,
beside the Walmart is like for like troubled teens who couldn't finish high school. There's like a little tiny storefront where they go do their homework right beside the Walmart at Marlboro Mall. Pretty cool.
So
It's that
and
kind
those
of
kids
mall.
definitely all smoke. Like every
Yeah.
troubled teen who has trouble with their homework smokes too.
Exactly. They've got it all figured out.
Cool. Yeah. They just know how to be cool, which is like don't do your homework and smoke.
So I just, like, Sigmark-
I'm trying to explain. Yeah. Please just, but let's be more seeker sensitive than I guess just me talking about Indy 88 bus shelter ads.
Sigmark is just kind of like one way of idealizing the dream era of Blink-182 because he just like used to look so fucking cool with that cig hanging out of his mouth. There's maybe I don't have it. I thought I saved it, but there's like one of their earliest photos that I think they even have it in the archive at Exclaim where they keep like all of the when labels used to actually mail you a 8x10. One of the earliest ones is like Blink-182 looking into a fisheye lens, and Mark has like perfect Eminem hair, and I think everyone's just covered in racing stripes, and he has a cig hanging out of his mouth, and it's just like the coolest era. And so I think we've just always talked about Sigmark because it's it's like shorthand for talking about the pre-Enema of the State 90s Blink-182. Because even like if you actually listen to Damn It, like not just have it in the background or hearing someone cover it, but if you actually put on Damn It, especially after hearing all of these other Blink-182 songs, his voice is unbelievable on it. And it's because he was dying of cigarettes and ruining his voice. And it sounds so good. And so, yeah, Sigmark has kind of become shorthand for that.
I think it's not just a shorthand for that era of the band, but we do so much like attacking of Mark specifically for being like cornier, and we do a lot of sort of idolizing of Tom, I think, at Mark's expense. And so I think Sigmark is not only a celebration of like an era of the band, both aesthetically and sonically, but also a recognition that like Mark is cool, and Sig, like it wasn't Sig Scott and it wasn't Sig Tom, like it's Sig Mark. He is empirically the coolest looking dude in all of those fucking photos, and so I think it is a subtle tip of the hat to like an era of Mark who maybe is like a little underappreciated on this podcast. If it's possible for a podcast that is so dedicated to to the creative works of really two men to somehow not be reverential enough towards one of them.
Two men meaning us. Yeah, I agree.
We're
celebrating the creative work of two men, us.
I mean, like in most ways, yes.
So Sigmark is something we've been saying for a really long time, and so yeah, Mark's cool.
Did you make it up?
For
Like
sure.
we got to talk about this a bit because like You hadn't heard someone else say Sigmark. No one else was. This isn't like a ism somehow.
I don't know. I mean even the reading about Dude Ranch being cum through hot leather, I feel almost guilty for taking it on. I like to make up my own things that I say. I don't like to jump on other things. So Sigmark is definitely just, I wouldn't even say making it up. It's just that's what he is. He's Sigmark. I mean, it's just kind of like saying what's in front of me, you know? I'm just like living my truth over here.
Okay, yeah.
So then last week, or I guess earlier this week, because we're doing this, so this is down to the wire. I mean, this episode's coming out in
we've been
in
recording
minutes. We need to hurry up.
Yeah, we've been recording in advance. This is like a real like. This one has a certain almost live energy to it, even though it's absolutely not, and it's still not coming up for 4 hours. But
yeah,
and we're walking a tight wire.
We are. But yeah, so earlier this week, Mark tweeted, "If this tweet gets 100,000 RTs, I'm bringing back Sigmark." And it was this cool photo of him, black and white on stage, Tom in the background. Just like something about smoking while playing is also just so obscene and ridiculous. It's just so like flagrant, you know? Like Sigmark is a badass. And so he shared this photo, and then of course he said Mark said Sigmark. I mean, what does that mean to everyone? Everyone's freaking the fuck out, thinking Mark's dead. I don't know. I don't even know. Did you see Sigmark, or did I tell you? Were you like talking to Marty?
Of course I saw Sigmark. Yeah. No, I saw Sigmark and had the exact same, like, without you having to be like, holy shit, did you see this? Like the same reaction of like, this is fucked. Like it's,
yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
So everyone thinks that this means Mark listens to the pod, because Sigmark is definitely something that only exists in the realm of the pod. But unfortunately, I have to let everyone know something. And I think this might work against the idea of Mark being ahead in a way. Because I think a week before, he had tweeted that somebody said he's like the most boring person they've ever met, or some sort of like, he was trying to joke around and be self-deprecating, but then it was like it came across as like way too real, and everyone was basically like, yeah, you are boring. Because he later like clarified like, oh, it's because I went to bed early, not because like, you know, I'm the most boring guy ever, whatever. But with the pod account, I had tweeted in reply, bring back Sigmark. So that was like the week before. And so I don't think that he listens to the pod. I don't think he's listened to us talk about our buttholes for 4,000 hours or whatever, and then picked up on the nuance of Sigmark. Because also he probably would have started saying other much stupider things than Sigmark if that was the case. But it's still like kind of annoying because he didn't acknowledge the tweet. He just kind of like, it went into his subconscious, and then he mentioned Sigmark. And then everyone started freaking out. Not only was like the pod freaking out and everyone was like being so annoying because that's what we do, but then people were starting to like, people were like tisking him for bringing up smoking and encouraging smoking. And so he was like, just so you know, quitting smoking is the best thing I've ever done. And then he just ended up deleting everything. So it's still like,
really?
Yeah, it's all gone. Like whenever he flirts with the nation, it gets deleted. But yeah, he's still, there
That's
was a
the kind
brief
of thing
moment
that
where
makes me think that, like, you know, PC culture has gone too far, you know?
Right.
Like, these SJWs just, you know, not letting anyone talk about
and when you
smoking.
say PC, you mean preventing cigarettes culture has gone too far.
Yep, and
but then I was like,
joints with tobacco. The T is silent in SJWs.
So basically, first of all, yeah, I think we're mostly gonna talk about cigs this week. We can very quickly just say these lyrics are absolutely insane, and they make no sense.
They're so good. But wait, hold on. So I want to make this clear. I never thought that Mark listened to the pod. What I thought was that Mark had seen it in a tweet and like absorbed it, and that was the incredible thing. So I want to say I still think that's incredible. Like that Mark wormed its way into his subconscious because you said a dumb fucking thing about how cool it used to look.
That's why we're doing the episode. We're going to talk more about cigs in a second, but very quickly, I just want to say, they have a song called Marlboro Man. and maybe the lyrics have been transcribed wrong, but this song makes me feel like I'm having an aneurysm while I read the lyrics. It's so insane and stupid. I don't know what's going on. So basically, the people who've annotated it seem to think that it's just about a person who wastes time all day and smokes cigs and realizes that they shouldn't be smoking cigs. Maybe that's true. I mean, it has the line, I have fun no matter what I do or how much I just sit here. I can't go on just sucking my thumb. And then it says, after thinking that I couldn't read, sitting on the porch and waiting for the porno while sucking on my nicotine. I mean, this is an idiot masterpiece.
Yeah, but I think there's a chance that this is like, trying to get, Siri to dictate a message. Like, there aren't lyrics to this out there, right? This is all people trying to transcribe it from what I earlier said does kind of sound like Tom speaking in reverse. Like, I was reading the lyrics and listening to it being like, I don't fucking know. Like, do you think these are the lyrics?
I don't know. I mean, I do. I have a hard time making out lyrics to begin with. I think some of it is probably true. Like, he must be singing black tar, brown mud, latex paint. Your boy's a time bomb. No, just kidding. All in my lungs today. I guess I should listen to what the docs say. My breath is how the streets get paved every day. That's probably, like, he repeats that a bunch. That's probably correct, but it's so stupid. Like, he's saying that he's smoked so many cigarettes that when he exhales, the streets are repaved every single day because of the amount of tar in his breath alone, not to mention coating his lungs.
That is an incredible feat, to be quite frank.
I guess you could possibly read this as an anti-smoking song.
That's
and it's hard to imagine.
It.
Yeah, and I feel like there's not that many anti-smoking songs because, like, smoking obviously is a bad idea and you shouldn't do it, but the coolness of smoking could never be countered without seeming very corny and bad. Like, any kind of anti-smoking thing is just going to be some sort of, my name is, and I'm here to say, like, there's no way that you could write an anti-smoking song that's cool. And this one is included in that. It's just the song sucks.
Absolutely. I feel like, again, I'm sure I've talked about this, but one time when I was covering Warped Tour and they put all of us on different buses and, like, everyone kind of got split up and it was like some people got to go on, like, mostly, like, I don't know that anyone ended up on band buses because those people, like, pay more money, but it was like a bunch of, like, support staff and, like, other organizations that were on the tour. And so someone ended up on a bus that was like, the fucking Monster Energy drink bus where, like, all they were doing was, like, lines of cocaine, I'm sure, and, like, partying all night. And Ashley and I and the two guys from Musique Plus, of course, Quebec's Much Music / MTV, ended up on the bus that belonged to the Youth Anti-Smoking Initiative, Truth. And it was exactly as lame as you thought. And they literally all rapped. Like, they all, like, one dude had a rap about... Yeah, literally one of the guys, like, I remember just, like, sitting at the front of the bus being like, this is fucking hell. Because I was like, gonna be on a tour bus, it's gonna be sick, we're gonna, like, smash beers and fucking hang out. And then it was literally like, oh, you're hanging out. And I don't smoke. Like, I've never smoked. I don't like smoking. But that as soon as you're on the Youth Anti-Smoking Initiative bus, like, that's going to be fucking lame. Like, I'd rather be on the cigarettes bus. And one of the guys had a rap about the basketball player Pau Gasol. And, like, Ashley and I talked about this recently because this is honestly, like, this has got to be 10 years ago at least. And he had this rap that was like, Pau Gasol, there's a slur in this. He eats midgets because he's 7 feet tall. And I could not see either Gasol brother without hearing that fucking youth anti-smoking initiative rap in my head.
To smoking?
It was just like because
little people to
just
counter
the kind
his
of
cravings.
I think that was it. But the idea was like it's less that rap wasn't about smoking, but these were the kinds of people. Like, it was like, oh, welcome to our bus. Would you like to hear my rap? And you're like, oh no.
You just jump out onto the highway, barrel onto the pavement.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I basically, like, ended up staying staying in Fresno that night. Also, and I want to see if I can find it because I literally have a photo of then like that night we were at like the Warped Tour barbecue, and he was like ended up doing his rap about Gasol for Ernie C, one of the other founding members of Body Count, like the guitar player in Body Count who like worked Warped Tour or whatever. And so it's this like insane video of me just looking aghast while this like guy just raps at Ernie C. It's like really fucking bad. Anyway. Smoking rocks is basically the sort of...
yeah, so not only did the
story.
Sigmark thing happen, but then I saw this tweet from Business Week like yesterday or something that said they're expecting cigarettes to make a huge comeback in 2020 because of like the backlash of vaping and also the laws. And then the other funny thing is that the head guy or one of the head guys of the anti-Juul thing is like the governor of Massachusetts, who's a huge Blink-182 fan, Charlie Baker, fucking Republican, and he's the guy like spearheading the anti-Juul thing. I think one of them I was reading, and so all of this is to say, Blink-182 and smoking is a very interesting cross section of culture. So I think we're going to talk about cigs a little bit. You go first. So what you're saying? You've never smoked a cigarette before?
Never smoked a cigarette. You know, like at some point, because I mean, I was straight edge for a while. Although obviously, if you're not now, you never were, et cetera, et cetera. So never smoked a cigarette. And then when we were in Europe on tour, I ended up like I don't want to say it was like in desperation because that sounds like really weird, but like I wanted to smoke weed, and everyone in Europe puts tobacco in their joints, and it's disgusting. And I remember like the first night we were there, it was like some guys being like, you know, do you want to hit this? And I was like, hell yeah, dude, dog. And I just like coughed for like half an hour because my lungs were not prepared for a different kind of sticky icky. And so, like, every couple of days, I'd, like, decide that, like, maybe I could handle it, and then I couldn't. So, like, I've smoked tobacco, like, 5 times in an attempt to smoke weed, basically. But that is the lamest possible
I know. reason to smoke. I don't know why.
I know.
Something about
I'm not proud of it.
It's like... It's so funny. Yeah, no, I've smoked a bunch. Like,
yeah, you love smoking, right?
When we went on tour down the West Coast, we were like, we bought American Spirits because we're like, well, these are fucking healthy for you, and they're like $2. Like we bought like so much Four Loko and Coors and gas and like 4 packs of cigarettes. And we're like, all right, that'll be $22 or whatever. It's like, what the fuck? I remember
America
on that same tour we got
rules.
On that same tour, we got 50 chicken McNuggets for $20. It's like so insane. Like they're actively trying to destroy you with bargains. I think over there. So we're like, yeah, let's just smoke on tour. This will be fun. And then I was like, pulling over all the time as the tour went on to smoke. And then I just was kind of like, when I got home, I was like, oh, they don't have American Spirits here. I guess I'll just start buying Belmonts or Rooftop Reds or like some, just literally became a smoker. And then a friend of mine that is a listener of the pod, I'm not going to put him on blast for his cig use, even though he's also quit. But I was working with him, and I was like training my job with him, and I was trying to keep up with his smoking habits at work. And I was like, I would go home so nauseous at the end of the day because he was such a heavy smoker too. And then it just becomes like, oh, I guess every time I'm outside, I'll smoke. Why not? And then, yeah, I don't know. It's like so brutal. But yeah, I do love cigs. I think they're wonderful and beautiful, but I also think no one should ever have them. And that's the beauty of it. That's the great paradox. It's like you shouldn't have a DQ Blizzard every day, but they're still good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, two things can be true at the same time. Did you quit smoking when you took up the X, or had you already quit smoking before
no, I've actually
got your Swatch?
When I quit drinking, I still smoked a little for like a couple months, and then I was like finally done with everything. And then I didn't get the Swatch till later, and I still feel like wearing the Swatch is a bit of a a fine line. I feel like I'm appropriating something special that I shouldn't be, but that's my favorite. But as I've said, it's poser power, so that's the beauty of it.
Oh yeah, man.
But no, like I still smoked for a little while, and now I'm just so glad that I don't. And I think like sometimes if you like, we have like a nice deck now, and I look at it, and I'm just like, oh, imagine if I could smoke right now, but I can't. I just have decided I can't smoke, and so I'm not going to. So it's fine. It's great. And in
Does
fact,
Sarah smoke?
no, she doesn't. She did with me a little bit, but she barely. In fact, actually, I remember the dark night of the soul that I had at the mongrel party that you put on in Toronto, where I like became a terrifying alcohol monster. That was like a disaster.
I remember. I love that your rock bottom was like maybe like Josiah's a pretty fun guy.
It wasn't like that wasn't rock bottom, but it was definitely eye opening because not only was there a photo of me just like literally pouring a full beer onto the red carpet, and I remember everyone yelling at me while I was doing it, but then the guy that I was with all night, the next day, I was like, hey, do you want to go get some more beers? And he was like, I was just shitting blood. And we were going drink for drinks. I was like, wow, I need to... I mean, this is normal to me. But that night, I remember, I think it was that night or maybe a different night on that trip, but Ashley just found a pack of cigs and we were all having cigs. I don't know if she was, but there's some cigs appeared out of nowhere. And I was like, hell yeah.
I feel like we used to be like a lot of groups of friends where like once everyone was drunk, like somehow someone had found a pack of cigarettes. But it's weird. Like that just also like doesn't even like nobody that I hang out with, I think really smokes. I'm looking around like maybe like, you know, it's sort of almost like maybe it's like the cocaine thing. Like just like no one smokes cigarettes around me or something. Yeah. But we hit that age. Like you started going to the fucking gym. Like at some point, like this is it. We are in our mid-30s. And so you actually start making decisions based on your, not like your current health, but even like your future health. And that's often when those vices go out the window, right? Because it's not just like fun anymore. Because you're like,
true.
Oh, the people that I see who cough a lot are actually a lot like they're not that much older than me. It becomes much more immediate,
right.
You know?
Well, I love something that Marsden, the merch pundit, once said to me, which is that your idea of having another cigarette is so much better than actually having it. So just like enjoy the idea of having one and how beautiful and perfect it would be, but it's actually going to just taste super gross and be disgusting. And so I'm just saying all this because I don't want it to be this to be a pro smoking episode, even though smoking rocks. It's still a bad idea. And in fact, a few months ago, we were talking on the pod about how I was like having a bad week, and then my examples of what had happened were like too vague. And afterwards, I was like, "Oh, that sounds like I had not that bad of a week." But my aunt actually passed away this year from cancer, and she smoked like crazy for her whole life, and so it's like it's real. As you get older, you're like, "Oh, actually, it does have consequences." You're not just a cool like Levi's Go Forth commercial while you smoke. Or whatever.
Levi's. Yeah, and I think it's important to
Go
note,
Forth commercial? I feel like that invented hipness. Oh. That Levi's Go Forth commercial.
Those ads like fucked up advertising because now like ads for President's Choice look that way. Like it took a long time, especially like in Canada, because Canada's always like, if this is maybe generous, like 5 years behind America or the rest of the world in terms of like any kind of like trend, advertising obviously being, you know, one of those things. And so, yeah, Levi's ads, there were all these like abstract, like whatever. And now it's like you get those same ads where it's like Go Forth, family, togetherness, jeans, also dinner, President's Choice. And you're like, what?
Right. I think there was a Subway one like that pretty recently.
Yeah, because, totally.
Which is that's another thing that this episode is kind of about. And I mean, we're just going to talk about what it's about the whole time without ever actually talking about it. But Marlboro Man
you probably
is like...
don't. I want to keep talking about smoking before we get into this because you don't necessarily have this because you work from home. But I work in a fairly small office, and I want to say like 3 out of 10 people I work with, who most of whom didn't smoke previously, now all jewel like in the office like throughout the day.
Oh yeah,
and that's been a very odd trend to watch happen. Not with like because like my introduction to Juuls was like Gia Tolentino writing about how it was like cool for high schoolers, and then all of a sudden all these 30-year-olds I work with were juuling all the time. And that's
and I like that it's becoming corny. Maybe it's not though.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
It's like everyone old getting onto Facebook. And then so once the kids in high school decide that juuling is lame, then they're all going to start smoking, which is why smoking is going to go up. And then maybe people in our generation will start smoking again.
Yeah. Because I was thinking too, like cigs are the perfect like you know how the people that used to talk about vinyl all the time in such an embarrassing way now talk about how they only go see 35 millimeter prints of films. They're like, I wouldn't see that unless it was on 35. And so I feel like cigs are the 35 millimeter vinyls of the smoke world. Maybe. So maybe that will be that this return to authenticity will be the rise of cigs again. But Marlboro Man makes me think of how like not only is tobacco advertising basically gone from our world, but obviously they must be pumping money into, like, I read an article about how Netflix has way more depictions of smoking than anyone else. Like, there's some statistic, I forget the number. And then, like, I was thinking how Viceroy, that Mac DeMarco song, I mean, that was so many years ago now, but that blew up, and it's not even his best song. And, like, I was always wondering, like, did somebody do something to make this song as popular as it is? Because I know people who started smoking because of that song.
I mean, look at all those tobacco companies had to find something, like, because they're still all generating a tremendous amount of revenue, but like literally their user base is dying off, and so they had to do something. And so the idea that Mac DeMarco is a cigarette company psyop is, I think, something that you've expressed to me in chat before, and I'm like, I 100% believe it. I think it's very much what has happened.
Well, they're definitely doing something, and then we're going to get back to Blink-182 in a second, but as I was Googling this song, I found this, and I can't believe this is even a real thing. Have you heard of this movie before? It stars Mickey Rourke and Don Johnson, and it's called Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man.
Yeah. This is like a famous flop, right? Isn't that the deal? Or why do I,
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, okay, it cost
it's a cult
$23 million
classic.
and it made $7 million. Yeah.
So they literally, like, in 93, they were allowed to advertise cigs so much that they just released a movie about a guy named the Marlboro Man. And now they, like, blur out brands on everything. Like, how does that make sense?
I don't know. The
so
Netflix
good. Have you seen this movie?
I have not. Have you? It looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, I would love to watch this, actually.
Damn.
There's also a character named Virginia Slim in it.
Is this like an Adbusters movie or something?
Yeah, their culture
and
jamming.
Jack Daniels? Good God.
Yeah, like, I thought that you had to be more worried about brands, or would the brands have signed off on this? Or, like, are all those brands owned by the same Pfizer or whatever, like, head company? Johnson & Johnson owns them all.
Yeah, maybe. Jose Cuervo, and I never ordered tequila, so... but this is a
I think you don't smoke
brands.
because you don't smoke because you have a hard time pronouncing it, I think.
Oh yeah. The idea
reason.
of like ordering anything that like requires any semblance of like knowledge is deeply terrifying to me. Like I just picked up like some jerk chicken from a Jamaican place. It's like on my way home, and like I've been there dozens of times, and I like kind of fucked up my order as I was doing it, and I was like, I look like a fucking idiot. I should just go eat McDonald's. Like it was really stressful for me, and so like especially now the idea of like trying to order cigarettes, or I guess buy them.
I know now that like, because also I think pretty much the whole time I've smoked in Canada, they've been hiding They've been hiding them, so you have to know exactly what you want. And it is like, what are you supposed to do? Google that? Like how to order
kids
cigarettes?
learn how to smoke? Give me some cigarettes, please.
Oh, it's so bad. I have the lyrics open here, and there is a part where he says, I can't go on just sucking my thumb. And it makes me think of the Juul thing. And even when I quit drinking, I started thinking about how people always love to like pose for photos and hold up their drink. And it's like everyone just needs like a little like toy or a little baby's bottle or something. And so maybe I will actually start sucking my thumb if I miss that stuff too much. Like there's got to be adult thumb suckers.
Oh, dude, I'm sure you're part of a thriving subculture. But I remember reading an interview or seeing something, and this is like an abstract and terrible anecdote, but that like when they started cracking down on the idea of depicting cigarette smoking in films and TV, because there was like a thing that happened there, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it is, but maybe it's ratings related or whatever. But like that actors kind of talked about the fact that like all of a sudden they didn't know what to do with their hands, because it is just like it's also like a very human thing to do. Like we're constantly fidgeting and like drinking a water or smoking a cigarette or whatever. But it's so interesting how like Netflix, that I guess is not subject to some of those regulations, whatever they are. This is like really half of an anecdote. Has, like you said, everybody smoking, and the only time you ever see anyone vape in a movie or TV show is to let you know that they're a fucking loser.
Yeah, exactly. It's so true. What's that really shitty Sofia Coppola movie? What's that guy's name again? Steven something. I think it's called Somewhere or whatever. Like it's literally the most Sofia Coppola movie, but I feel like that guy's a big vape guy.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like I was watching a movie. I was watching Satanic Panic with Jerry O'Connell, and he plays like a dickhead, and he's like constantly got one of those like massive cartridge full hand vapes in it. Jerry O'Connell, very good at playing a dickhead.
Oh, Steven Dorff is who I'm thinking of, and I think he actually is like a vape spokesman for one of the brands. Of course he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. Maybe everyone will pivot back to SIGs. But to get back on topic of Blink-182, we're going to talk about Sigmark, obviously, a little bit more because we love Sigmark. But I also want to talk about Sig Trav, for example, and Sig Tom. So let's start with Sig Trav. Yeah. So
I love how you had to give a big anti-smoking, or not like, but like that we are not pro-smoking intro, because now I realize how much we're about to talk about how cool it is when you smoke.
Exactly. I know, it's so weird because I still do think like I fucking love smoking, but like I said, my aunt passed away this year, and then my uncle actually passed away like 5 years ago, who's also a big smoker, and like it's just like it's weird to think about how like it's terrible for you, but it's so cool. It's like forbidden fruit. It's crazy. Especially like starting immediately right now. So this is plus 44, playing No It Isn't, and I'm just going to let it play in the background because it's so good. But as it plays out, you'll see Travis is literally just doing the intro drumming with one hand because he's literally just like smoking a cigarette with his other hand.
It honestly, like, I feel like once or twice, like, it obviously doesn't happen very often anymore, but like a band that comes back out on stage for the encore and they're all smoking, and to be honest, like it's like having a beer. It just makes it seem like you're enjoying yourself a little bit. Again, this is I could not be also like I'm not pro smoking at all, but it just looks like you're like chilling. And it's better than watching people look like they're going to fucking work, right? Punching the clock, which we've talked about so much. Like, Travis looks so cool. He looks like he's having such a good time.
He looks so dumb. He looks like a pervert for some reason.
But like a very cool pervert.
Well, and that is Travis Barker, really, to a T. He's like playing a
he's
full
playing
beat.
a beat like, with one hand and smoking. Okay, now it looks like he's doing a bit. Like, now it doesn't look cool.
It does look so stupid.
Yeah, this is a bad look. Like, he's doing... Like, guy, we get it. You want to smoke. When does he put the cigarette down?
I wonder if he must...
No, literally,
I was like, when they come in, does he put it down?
And he's playing with one hand. I don't think he ever fucking puts that cigarette down. Yeah, dude, he's literally...
Yeah, he's still got it.
Like, he plays to the end of that song with a cigarette in his hand.
I don't know. I kind of respect it, actually.
No, now I think it's cool.
Journey where I think it's... Yeah, it's... He just did like a fill.
Oh, this was also from their headlining performance at Guitar Center's Drum Off 2006. So it's like he was extra showing off. Like, look how much I can chill and also be sick.
Well, maybe it's because he's like, it's not Drum Center's Drum Off. It's Guitar Center's Drum Off. I mean, they don't know shit about drums. It's a Guitar Center.
It's true. Yeah, those fucking drum idiots.
So there's lots of Travis smoking. I mean, he loved cigs for a long time. I think even in his book he talks about cigs, and on Meet the Barkers he talks about I think he smokes cigs on there. There's apparently a scene where Tom smokes weed with Travis on Meet the Barkers, but it's been deleted. I can't find it. So that was one, and we're not talking about weed anyway, so that doesn't really count. But the only cig Tom thing is very funny, actually. So I've just sent you an archived Reddit post. Somebody has a Mark, Tom, and Travis show poster where Tom's lip ring has been like shittily edited to be a clip art cigarette.
What the fuck? It's awesome. He looks so much cooler this way.
Yeah, it is kind of cooler than the lip ring, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I'm trying to... There was something in the comments somewhere. Yeah, someone said the username is deleted, but they said this is a non-genuine poster sold by a random Chinese ? eBay / Amazon seller. Look, if you don't know, then you don't need to say that. You can just call it a bootleg. You know, come on.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say they looked Chinese to me, and you're like, I don't know, man. Sorry, I was also like super distracted here because we were joking a little bit about Champagne Sammy earlier and how, like, you know, I wish that the Champagne Sammy from the podcast like really existed to the full extent that, you know, it exists online in my real life. But this is the ad that is, I don't know what you're getting alongside this Imager post, but I'm getting an ad that says the best hot tub views from around the world, and it's.
Oh my God! See, Champagne. I think that thing you were saying earlier about how you wish Champagne Sammy was real. That was before you hit record, and so as soon as the mic is rolling, the champagne is flowing.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's good. But it's like,
it's a very champagne image.
Like it's like I wonder what like series of cookies are on my browser that sort of led Imager to think like, damn, this guy is definitely going to want to sit in a hot tub like in the Caribbean somewhere. I mean, I do.
So somebody else has said that they got this off of Amazon. It's a huge poster and it's a canvas print, and they're thinking that the SIG was added to get away with any copyright issues.
I don't know if that's enough.
I feel like that's not gonna, like, maybe this isn't Blink-182 because Tom is smoking a SIG. So I think we could argue in court that.
Well, I wonder if others, like, because we're just seeing this kind of zoom in on this version of it, whether other small things are different. And it could be because, like, I have a Raptors jersey that, like, jerseys are very expensive. And so I bought a couple of years ago a Kyle Lowry jersey from Alibaba for like $20.
Oh,
and it took like.
Fake fan. Fake fan.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I did not support Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment with my hard earned money. But it's like mostly kind of looks like a jersey, but it is like a little like, so it's not quite like someone drew the Raptors logo from memory, but it's definitely like off in very bizarre and crucial ways. And so I kind of wonder if this was just something where it's like, it's basically this, and there's something on his lip, probably a cigarette, and they just kind of barreled forward with it, and maybe this was a bootleg.
Yeah, like if it definitely would be a bootleg, but yeah, maybe they're like increasing the resolution so much so that they lost some detail, and then they're just like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. That's got to be it for sure. Where they're like, what do you think was there? Like, not a lip ring, because that's stupid.
But also, like, getting the bootleg version is so much cooler than getting the real version, no matter what you're buying. I fucking love that shit. I bought I think I bought it on eBay, but I think I saw it on Alibaba too. But I had this Turnstile shirt that was like the Nirvana smiley face, but said Turnstile, and it was like such a janky print, and it was actually very ill fitting, so I never wore it. But I love it. And when we were in Japan, we found this store in Harajuku called Used Clothing Store Bros, and it specialized in bootleg Simpsons only. Like, the whole store has like bootleg Simpsons shit throughout the whole store. It was incredible. So I love bootleg stuff, and I think the more bootleg Blink stuff, the better.
I'm trying to see if there's other ways in which this photo is different, and I honestly, it otherwise looks fairly faithful. So you got to think that maybe whoever did this was just like anti-lip ring and instead wanted to promote a smoking agenda.
I guess, like, if, again, you know, smoking is what it is. It's not, as much as I love it, I hate it too. But I think I
Smoking
would rather
is what
have.
it is like the most weird hedge on smoking.
But I was gonna say, I think I would prefer smoking over lip ring. Like, smoking is definitely cooler than a lip ring.
You think? Like, yeah, I guess. I mean, what the? Yeah, this is otherwise.
Now I'm trying to find this banner on Amazon.
Yeah,
There's definitely.
I want a bootleg Blink banner. It's like when I got like very excited about the idea of buying those like full body Blink hoodies, like knockoff hoodies. So I was like, you and I, we can get them.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'll never wear it. And I was like, they look sick. And then I like woke up the next day, probably not quite as high, and was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to buy this.
I feel like web advertising really works on you very well. Like, you're about to buy this hot tub as well.
I'm about to buy a hot tub. I'm about to buy this shirt that you just sent me.
Yeah, I was just trying to find the banner, and instead I found this bootleg Blink shirt on Amazon that has like the smiley face logo, and then it says, "I'll try to kiss you if you let me." And then they've actually on the shirt written in parentheses the Travis whispering, "This can't be the end." So good.
Yo, I want you to get me
All
this for Christmas this year, man.
Oh my God, what is this? Oh, wow. Oh man, I fucking hate these things. They always have these at the Calgary Stampede. It's like a clock that's made out of vinyls, and then the enema nurse is on it, and it's a clock made of vinyls. Like, imagine having that on your wall. Imagine what kind of fucking loser it is. There's a Buffy one and a Red Dwarf one.
Oh, there's one for The Mask. I want that one.
Okay, some of these are getting tweeted, definitely. I'm going to bookmark this page.
Oh, this Bob Marley one is tight. Wait, are these cutouts? Or like so it's not a screen print. It's like a die cut vinyl record.
I think so. I mean this is definitely on mock-up because
yeah, this for sure gets 3D printed when you order it.
I wonder or maybe they actually do it on a real record, but it's probably like, I wonder what record it is. It's probably one of my records that I fucking dumpstered when I moved, one of my bands.
Oh man, dumpstering your own records is like so freeing and literally the saddest thing in the fucking world at the same time.
It's so sad leading up to it, and then it's like, I feel like it reminds me of like the silver chair from the Narnia series, where you just like all of a sudden snap out of it, and you're like, what was I doing? What was wrong with me? Like, wait, I don't have to like lug merch around and try to trick people into buying it. And I don't have to carry my amp around anymore. I can just like be a normal person, play video games and watch TV. Like, that's so much better.
I don't really understand the Narnia thing because I wasn't Christian in my youth, but
the new Kanye is not for you.
I mean, in addition to being Christian, I hope it's all about Narnia.
Okay, well, that was pretty much Sig Tom for you. I guess I should have looked up Sig Skiba, but I mean, I feel like he still is just, even though he probably doesn't smoke anymore, he's like the most smokery man ever. He kind of talks like one of those people who has the throat thing from those smoking ads.
Yeah, from like an infomercial.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I've seen a lot of photos of him smoking, but just looking up cigarette Matt Skiba, I'm only seeing him, like, it appears to be lighting up a marijuana cigarette. Maybe he doesn't smoke cigarettes, but he's got such a cigarette voice. But he also has really good range, which maybe might have diminished if he kept smoking, so maybe he doesn't smoke anymore?
Yeah, I don't know, but in
Matt
one of these
Skiba's
photos, he's wearing
cigarette is the most like narc ass search ever. Like, not Matt Skiba smoking, which I've now done.
Did you get this? Did you get this picture when you searched it? He looks like such a narc dad. He's wearing aviators, and he's like somehow so incredibly like more bald than he is now. He's like Ian Mackay bald in this photo from 10 years ago, and he's wearing a T-shirt that says "Kentucky Fried Cruelty." Which doesn't even work. Like, come on, PETA or whoever. You got to at least try to make it rhyme. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's not great. But yeah, he's figured out how to make whatever happened to his hair work for him, and I respect that.
It's true. But anyways, let's get back. We got to get to Sigmark, the star of the show here. And so I did find the picture that I was talking about earlier. It's just incredible. I mean, this picture is so cool. the way that he's like dangling that cig from his lips, the way that they're all standing. I just realized there's a phantom foot on the left corner at the bottom there.
Oh yeah, it's like someone's holding down the because there's like a canvas backdrop, and so you can kind of see the floor to the sides of the backdrop, and it's like someone's holding down the backdrop, so you get like a clean like 90-degree angle on it. Oh my god, they're all wearing like the sort of like classic Vans. Like only Scott he's just wearing like fully blacked out shoes of some kind, but both the Phantom Foot, Mark and Tom. Oh my god, they look so fucking cool.
And Mark, I always forget that Billabong was like something that someone like this would wear back then. Because Billabong, it just makes me think of like Cultus Lake in BC, like Roxy girls, kind of like normie clothing.
Yeah, but Southern California in the 90s, like, is a different thing.
True. And also this week, Billabong announced a big Metallica collab. So there's going to be a bunch of like board shorts with Metallica album covers on it. Coming soon to a mall near you.
He's also like marking that thing where his hands are like fully in his pockets, like the thumbs aren't even out, like, and so he's got the like kind of like stoop shouldered thing happening. It's such a fucking good pose.
Man, I feel like especially you want to bone Mark so bad.
I do.
Like smooth Mark.
I really do, for sure. Yeah, I'm experiencing like a whole new sexual awakening here.
And in this picture, Scott looks like one of the people that doesn't do cocaine around us.
For sure.
Real mystery look to him.
He kind of looks like weirdly, like, because both like Tom and Mark have the like bleach blonde short hair. But because Scott's in the hat, and maybe it's his face, like Scott actually looks more like Eminem looks like today. Right. He has actually, you can almost like Eminem in 2015 vibes, you know?
Each of them could be a different era of Eminem, actually.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually what this photo depicts.
It's just that, yeah, Eminem throughout the years. But yeah, fuck.
I gotta wear khakis more, man.
I know. I've been like thinking of getting some since we started this pod. But then our guest this week kind of made fun of being a middle-aged man who wears khakis, and so now I'm not too sure.
Maybe it's different. It's different for you and I.
I think as you get older and you want to start dressing like a 90s skate person, it's good that there's checks and balances stopping us from that, because that's our full-blown midlife crisis.
True. Because I just I pivoted to, like, I don't know what your pant sort of rotation is like, but I just have multiple pairs of black jeans now. Like, because I did have khakis and I like wore them once or twice, and I was like, I don't think this is the right vibe for me. And
I want to do it still, but I don't know. We'll see. No, I'm still just wearing the same jeans that I bought on the Wasting Time episode. If you remember the and him is one of those two puns. I bought those jeans back then. But anyways, Mark quit smoking. I don't know when this is from. It's from his like Fuse show that somehow we've basically never talked about. But somehow he had an entire TV show that maybe it's just too daunting to do. But like, there's so much more Mark content from kind of the mid 2000s or early 2010s, and like Amy Schumer started on this show as a co-host, and like it's just such a bizarre thing that existed that we barely talk about. But this looks like this was uploaded in 2012, so I don't know if that's from when this was actually on or if it's when it was like. But I thought he quit smoking before that, too. I thought he quit smoking right around Damn It. But in this video, he talks about quitting. So this is from Fuse. It's sort of a behind-the-scenes footage thing. So here we go.
We should get footage of you smoking your cigarettes. That would look cool. And
I'm not smoking anymore.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
How long have you been off?
I haven't smoked in a long, long time.
That's great. We shouldn't even talk about it. I quit 2 years ago.
Yeah, I quit like 8 months ago or something.
You're not even looking back. Did you use the gum?
No, I just...
Cold turkey?
No, I just took a lot of medicine.
Oh, the Wellbutrin?
Yeah, Wellbutrin.
Or something like that.
It's interesting though, like when they prescribe you that, since it's actually was initially being used as an antidepressant, it's like you might take this medicine and it could make you stop smoking, or you might kill yourself.
Yeah. Which was it for you? Oh, obviously you're still.
I killed myself.
I wonder. Could you get hard with it on that medication?
What do you mean?
Hard. The people that took it that I said, they said they could not achieve an erection.
Oh, really? Were they women?
Some
a lot to dissect there.
Yes, some jokes that wouldn't fly today in this video, but he didn't say die by suicide. First of all, while he was casually
if only we
talking
could go back in time and educate them about language.
Why is there like a TMZ style investigative disruptive interview happening, and then why did they upload it, and also why was the speaker covered for the first half of it and then it gets clear? It's so weird.
This feels like it must have been part of a marketing strategy for the show, where it's like, we're going to go, it's going to be, while he's getting his makeup on, we're doing content for the web. This is web video, I bet this was broadband TV or something.
Was Mark just trying really hard to pivot away from talking about his dick, or did he actually genuinely not understand what the guy meant when he said, "Could you not get hard"?
It initially sounded like he was just one of those things where you're making someone say it. You're like, what do you mean? What trying to make them uncomfortable. But then when he reveals that he's talking about his dick, he's like, wow, the dick, the human dick. So I don't know. Maybe. I mean, look at Mark Hoppus, the dick joke man, is kind of just a character that he has to get up on stage and perform, 90 minutes every night. So maybe Mark, do we know that he's learned a new dick joke in the last 20 years? Maybe he hasn't.
Possibly not.
That's a good one.
I didn't know that people used an antidepressant to help them quit smoking. That's kind of interesting. And maybe intense to bring up on Fuse TV behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It's it wasn't just oh yeah, I did it. It's an antidepressant. It's and then they're talking about boners but in an adult way. That was an adult boner conversation where it was it was one 40-year-old man to another. Do you have a problem achieving or maintaining an erection? You're Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it really turned into the part on the prescription drug commercial where they list side effects for 45 seconds.
Yeah,
it's so
totally.
Good. But yeah, so I guess I remember Mark saying he quit smoking around the time of Dude Ranch because he didn't like how his voice was going, but he must have started again at some point, and then he quit with Wellbutrin. So Sig Mark did come back for a little while, and so maybe that's also why it was too much of a warning cry when he hinted that Sig Mark might come back.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of very similar to another great American, Barack Obama's relationship with smoking, where I feel he's quit and that's a dude who every time you see a photo of him smoking, looks cool as shit, and it's an advertisement for cigarettes. Right. But that's just the thing, right? People are on and off it, because it's so tight and it, even though it's not tight, yada yada yada.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's maybe kind of one of those. It's kind of it's kind of the Habit version of should I get bangs? How you ever talk to a girl who's they're either they have they just got bangs and they want to grow them out, or they are should I get bangs? And maybe that's kind of that's the cigarettes of hair, that conversation.
Right. Yeah, I know that totally makes sense to me.
So there's some pretty bad covers, but before we do that, I want to talk about some other songs called Marlboro Man.
I bet there are several.
There are a lot, actually. But I thought we'd start with actually a good one, because this one is by Dylan Brady from 100 Gex. And so that's a good place to start. And you told me something very funny about 100 Gex yesterday that I don't know if you can repeat on here, but it was funny.
I do not think I can repeat that on the pod, but again, if you join the here, I'll chat it to you.
Right.
So now it's part of the chat log for this episode.
Now it's part of the chat log. So
if you join that the Patreon tier where you get our chats, you'll know at least a taste of the 100 Gex anecdote.
Yeah, so here's Dylan Brady's Marlboro Man featuring Poter Elvinger. Oh man, I want a Marlboro so bad now.
Yeah, that was sick. And another effective pro-smoking missive.
Exactly. And so, similarly, the ska band, similarly to 100 Gex, the ska band,
I mean, there's
the
there's
Toasters.
ska in 100 Gex. That's part of their tapestry.
Exactly. The Toasters has a song called Marlboro Man, so let's listen to that for a sec.
Introducing to you, musical critical holiday done. Take on to Marlboro Man. Marlboro Man.
I prefer Christian ska, really. Third wave Christian ska to that sort of good ska that was. You know?
It's so funny when I hear shit like that, and I'm like, oh wait, like, I mean, I know. Look at, I obviously do. There's some ska in my blood, but like shit like that, you're like, oh right, this is like really good. But that's just because it like is like not all ska is like ska tracks or whatever, and you just forget if your introduction to an entire genre was third wave like mall ska, that it's like there's a rich musical tradition there, and I guess the Toasters are drawing from that quite effectively. So thanks. Thanks, the Toasters.
Yeah, but they could have had some like DJ scratching or something, and maybe like
yeah. Oh, dude, I was
More
just thinking.
hype man.
I've been listening to so much like bad new metalcore lately because like that like trend that started 2 years ago of bands like just being new metal bands again, and like, you know, not necessarily having DJs but having like heavy like electronic elements that aren't just like keyboards and stuff. Like it's all so
like
fucking new metal.
Stuff?
Yeah, like, but it feels like there was like one or two of these bands for a minute. Like it was Vane, like My Ticket Home, and like other bands that were like very, very much doing a kind of contemporary new metal thing. And now it's like there's too many to list because it's just sort of become the way, like, or at least a part of contemporary metalcore sounds, and it's so fucking sick. Like, just get a DJ in there, start scratching, playing like dropped F, and then also pick it up. I guess do all those things, please.
Yeah. Yeah, was there ever a new metal ska crossover? I mean, I guess other than 100 Gex, really.
New metal ska. I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of. What are some heavy... someone asking this on Reddit, a lot like us. One of the top results is Jeff Rosenstock. But I don't know that that's strictly true, except for the fact that that's a man who definitely loves new metal and ska. No, never the twain shall truly meet.
Yeah, I guess not. Although this next, I mean, I don't think this is
dude.
but this is definitely.
Sorry, there was a tweet from. I got to say this. There's a tweet from Anthony Fantano. Someone had asked him, "What is the sound from the past you'd like to see a resurgence in?" And he responded, "Combinations of new metal and ska punk." So Fantano's been on this one, you know, for a minute. So maybe combined our powers can make this happen.
Damn. Well, let's get Fantano in the pod, and we'll figure this out.
We'll get to the bottom of this. Yeah.
The next one, I think that I'm really blown away by this because the album art is terrible and also almost cool, and it's very fascinating. And like, I can't tell what year this is from. I guess it was uploaded 2013, but like, this looks like it could be like a long lost late 80s like industrial album or something. So this is called
cool.
Disneyland Disneyland After Dark, and it's from the album Call of the Wild, and it's called Marlboro Man. And it's just fucking awful, though. So that's the other funny thing about it. So here we go.
I'm your cigarette man. I do the best I can. I'm your cigarette man. I do the best I can.
Look at
You
the,
might find me on the
Yeah,
TV,
I found them too.
on the cover of the magazine.
it looks so funny.
But I'll be sitting on the porch with the smoke of course. 'Cause I'm the Marlboro Man.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Okay, this is from 1986. That explains
Yeah.
a lot.
And it's Danish, so there's a few factors to consider here, and also just like even their
And
names.
cowpunk.
Oh, the current lineup is Jesper Binzer, Jacob Binzer, and then Stig Peterson and Laust Sohn. But this is very Danish. Jesper and Jacob Binzer, yeah. Wait, did one of these guys, one of the associated, yeah. Like, which one of these guys ended up in like some like tragic Ramones offshoot, like that played, only B markets in Canada in 2003?
Yeah, it just says Ramones are an associated act, but there's no other connection anywhere.
It must
but,
be like one of these guys played with like CJ or something. Fuck.
Oh my god! And so this is abbreviated to DAD. So I mean, definitely a better, more realistic song about smoking, and that it is very gross. And
Yeah, that's what
upsetting.
smoking
And-
is actually like. Like what we think smoking is like is Sig Mark, and the reality of smoking is definitely a Danish '80s like cowpunk band.
Okay, I've actually written down so many songs, but I'm just gonna play one more before we watch a couple covers.
Okay.
Because I'm obsessed with this one. This nice old man, Tom McDonald. Although his stage name is Toma, Toma, all caps. But he's just like the oldest accountant ass motherfucker I've seen in a long time at like an open mic.
Oh, this is
and he's written an original.
He looks like a good man. This looks like a nice guy, you know?
Yeah, he maybe it could be. He definitely looks like he's just like a man. Like he's a bald man. He's wearing, and I feel like his khakis are more like what it would look like if we tried to start wearing khakis.
This is
You know what I
the
mean?
last time I
It's
put
like-
on khakis, I looked a lot like Tom McDonald.
But the best part is, poor Tom McDonald. He got the courage to go up on stage April 2015 to perform his original song, "The Marlboro Man." But unfortunately, as he's written in the description, sound quality is horrendous thanks to the Android phone's inability to pick up the music levels. However, through the distractions, you can hear wonderful live first-time accompaniment by local country singer-songwriter Cole Capshaw and an unknown washboard player who I invited to join us. So, yeah, because of the Android, I guess, he according to Tom, it's the Android's fault. But Tom is of the exact age bracket where everything is because his phone is broken. You know what I mean?
So yeah. Nothing got made the way it used to. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's definitely some great audio glitches in this song, including at the very beginning. So let's check out "The Marlboro Man" by Toma.
Wow. Okay. Tom's got. I agree with Tom so far. Oh, Jesus.
Paula.
I was hoping for at least one more glitch. It was kind of like a Wolf Eyes remix of the song.
Yeah,
itself.
that was cool.
Like completely,
I was sort of hard to
that.
hear it. It was very 100 gex too. It was like it's all part of the rich tapestry of their sound. Like it kind of sounded a lot like, I think it sounded like What's Going On, but it's sort of hard, like the verses, but hard to tell because I was very much focused on the rumble. The song unfortunately got lost a little bit for me.
I don't think that a phone would be doing that. I think something. Maybe the phone needs to be put in rice or something.
Yeah, that's
I don't think
like
the Android itself was built to do that.
And the idea that he's blaming Android specifically, like if he had an iPhone, it wouldn't have had that kind of disturbing, ghostly problem. I don't think that would have happened.
Perhaps it was like a ghost or like something haunting him, because that's the only explanation really.
Tom McDonald, you need to
anyways.
go to like a seance or something and just figure out what's up with your soul.
All right, I'm going to cue the covers theme now.
Oh, baby. Have we been playing those?
I mean, no one said anything, but last week I really got you good with it. Really good.
Did you?
So that was fun.
Right. Because I was like, that was sick. And what did you put in front of me saying that it was sick?
I'm not telling at all. But anyways, here's the covers intro thing. Okay, that's where it went.
I'm not saying anything. It could be like, that was bad.
Yeah, and then I'll put something
good, like where it's like someone talking about freedom and racial equality, and I'm like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Freedom. One of those classic speeches where someone talks about freedom and racial equality.
Listen, I haven't listened to a lot of speeches in my time, just like
okay, well, let's get into it. These are bad. These are all bad, and we're going to have a bad time. And I think because of that, I'm going to make us watch them all, because I don't think we should. I don't think we should watch good ones at all. There are none, but we should watch all the bad ones. And so this first
is an
one
interesting theory.
Sid. I'm trying some new things out this week. This is Sid Miguel. He's covering Marlboro Man on bass. Now, he's in a pretty shitty looking room. There's something on his shelf that is a bunch of DVDs that are all exactly the same. So I'm wondering what that could be. Is he some sort of distributor for some sort of contraband home media? I'm not sure.
Right. Those are all his bootlegs of The Pursuit of Tone.
Yeah. Right. Or The Pursuit of Happiness. Is that Will Smith movie? That's one, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a Will Smith joint.
It's the one where he's trying to sell
wrong.
all those bone machines? Yeah. Stupid movie.
I don't think I've seen it, so I'm not sure if bone machines play a critical role in the plot.
Yeah, he's like a bone machine salesman in that movie.
But he's like homeless, right? Is he a homeless bone machine salesman?
He's just trying to collect enough change to get the first bone machine so he can start his bone machine sales business. Yeah. I don't remember that movie at all, except I just remember saying the word bone machine like 100 times while it was on. So Sid here, he's got his contraband copies of Pursuit of Happiness on the shelf. He's got a really ugly bass with active pickups and just covered in smears from his fingers. Like, he's clearly a very sweaty man who cannot stop manhandling the blackest part of his bass. And then, so that we know what he's covering, he's put the Fly Swatter cover as his desktop wallpaper. So I appreciate that.
Or maybe
Sid.
that is just always his desktop wallpaper.
Wait, this is only 2 years ago? Holy
that
shit.
doesn't make any sense. Also, I'm pretty sure because you can see his like tower behind him too, and I don't. Is this a thing? Like, it looks like half of the tower is like missing, so it's like see through and kind of cool. Is that some gamer shit?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, he's probably
tower.
he's probably built his own rig, and that's why, so that he can play, he doesn't have any lag on Steam or whatever.
Damn.
Okay, here we go with Sid. Oh, that jazz.
Oh, yes. I can't believe how much fucking jazz we're going to get to listen to. God, it's so bad.
I just also love that he's not in tune.
This does suck, man.
Such a dumb guy bass line.
It is
it's not even in a scale. It doesn't even make sense.
It's just
It's
bass note,
clearly
bass note. It seems like one of those things you do if maybe the intro to the song involved swapping members. And so it's that's the only beat that the bass player can play. So the bass player's playing drums and Scott's out there playing bass, and that's why it sounds that way.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. I'm so glad that they abandoned this song. Oh, I just heard the bum bum bum. All right, Sid. Your time is up, my friend. Let's keep. I'm going to play all the bass ones first before we get to the other awful ones. This is just going to be so bad.
All the bass ones?
We're having too much. The pod has been too good lately, and I don't like it. I want it to be bad. So this is by Ike Zimmerman. Really good name. Seems fictional in a way. Ike Zimmerman. That seems like it's from a Beanie Feldstein movie. Her classmate is named Ike Zimmerman. We're all going to a party at Ike Zimmerman's house. This is Ike Zimmerman in 2011. It's a bass cover. So far, the vibe I'm getting is this video's stretched weird. Ike has some tattoos. Ike's wearing a checker punk belt. And I think they have maybe a signature Blink bass, or at least it looks like one. It has a Blink sticker on it. So very pop punk energy coming from Ike over here. And just a nice hits in the room. Better bass tone than Sid.
I like it. The way this is shot is very weird. It's very punched in.
Yeah, it seems like maybe it was filmed on a handheld, shitty bootleg MP3 player or something that had a camera, something that you'd buy at Shoppers Drug Mart. Oh, that was just only a cover of the intro. Wow.
Hell yeah, they know. They know.
They know. That's all we're here for. And so does this person. This person also only did the intro. Because if you're a true bass player, real recognize real. And this one is also only 2 years old. Had we started the pod yet at this point? June
2 years
7th,
ago?
2000s.
I mean, based on how much pod is left, it feels like we've just started, but I also can't remember a time when I didn't do the pod.
Me too. Yeah.
It's literally changed my perception of time. So I don't know. There's a dead cat on this dude's bed too.
Yeah, there's a cat back there.
It's not breathing.
Marlboro Man. Remember? Remember that? That was about 6 hours ago, that joke.
Yeah.
The amount of dropped calls and fucking awkward punch-ins we've done since then.
It's true.
So
this is definitely the best episode in a while.
And this person's username is just Logan? That's so classic. This is the most suburban YouTuber I've ever seen. You just got the name Logan on here?
Wow.
Oh.
Good for you.
Wow, and their featured video is them covering the Imperial March from Star Wars on bass.
I want to hear that too, so let's cue that up after.
Okay, here's Logan with the Marlboro Man intro only. Ooh, no backing track, brave. I hate this bass line line so fucking much. This bass line sounds like what Greg Proops looks like. Like it
also like sounds like it is not in a key, right? Like what?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I do not know enough about music, but I do know that is not like. There's a lot of stuff.
It's not in any scale.
Right? Yeah,
exactly. It's not in any scale, so it's just like I think they're just playing the frets with the dots on them, which makes sense if you're like a dumb teen writing a bass line. You probably just think, oh, it sounds better if I just play the frets that have
the
dots.
dots are where you go.
Maybe
yeah,
that's why.
Those are the best frets.
Yeah, the other ones are just there for kind of, to hold the space between the dots, I think. Is probably.
Yeah, totally.
All right, well, here, by popular demand, here's Logan playing the Imperial March on bass. He added the dark bass sound.
Yeah, Logan.
That's pretty complicated.
The breathing is very sick.
That was like straight up a Les Claypool bass line, I would say.
Boo, boo, boo. Yeah, in that context, it's like, oh yeah, I love Primus.
Okay, one more bass, and then we're going to move on to some other instruments here. This is the best cover section in a little while, I think.
Is it?
This is from Red Punk. This is from Red
Is this
Punk
only the
182. There's intro text that says this is only the intro of Marlboro Man, and this is also written in like an extremely Gen X Greg Proops fucking tin lunchbox ass font, and yeah. I love this intro. I think it's very easy but cool. Enjoy it, but don't smoke. That's what Red Punk 182 said when they uploaded this in 2007. Isn't that wild? YouTube has been around for too long. Here we go. Complete silence at the start.
It's like, I was sort of waiting for it to start earlier too, where I felt bad. I was like, just leaving you hanging here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really working the neck. And I think Red Punk 182 is wearing a studded punk bracelet too. Pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a good look. And
I really like how this person can't hit those high notes and just sort of like bullshits. It's poser power, and I respect it.
And it sounds just as good. Also, like, I don't know what you'd call, like, I recognize that hoodie from like an era where it's like it's a black hoodie, but it's sort of got like white stripes down the shoulders and then the arms. Like something they only ever sold at like Thrifties.
Yeah, it has like Nightmare Before Christmas energy for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, now we're going to move on to a different instrument called the guitar. And this is a guitar cover of the Fly Swatter version of Marlboro Man. And now this fella here has a giant Blink-182 smiley face on his wall.
I have this in my house.
After doing Blink-1A Tattoo, the new exclusive this week that you can get at patreon.com/Blink155, I'm so fucking sick of seeing that fucking smiley face, and I've always hated it, and I just wish that everyone would stop with it, please. But anyways,
it's kind of amazing that we've never
Robert,
developed even like a Stockholm Syndrome sort of feeling of affection for it. Like, it's just bad.
It's terrible. I hate it. But Roberto Lopez loves it and put it up in his guitar room, I guess. For some reason, something about this, maybe it's the disparity in guitar sizes, but all of the acoustic guitars on his wall look completely fake. Like, I feel like that could be a wall decal with shadows.
Right.
They just don't look real.
Well, it's interesting because his shadow is seemingly falling different than the guitars. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and say, yeah, that's just a wallpaper you can buy.
So no description. Roberto is just completely confident that we know what we're getting in for, and I agree. I'm curious if, since he's doing the Fly Swatter version, if he's going to be kind of playing the judders and skips that happen. That would be really impressive, but methinks he won't. Let's see. just standing
God.
here during this is terrible. I'm gonna skip ahead. There is like a almost okay Blink-182 song hidden in there.
It's so deeply buried, though.
It really is. So anyways, that was the best guitar cover of the song out there. And this is the worst one. This is somebody... And also, that was only from 2016. Like, all of these feel so much more recent than they should be.
They should be at least 10 years old.
Wait.
Yeah.
It's the same dude. It's the same guy. But he loves Marlboro Man so fucking much that he's gone outside with a different acoustic guitar. This one has, like, a lightning scar on it, I would say. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's, like,
and then, like,
such a strange...
What the fuck? It's a vibey guitar for sure.
Yeah, like, this guitar is very... I mean, this is, like, the most pawn shop guitar I've ever seen, but I didn't know people actually buy those pawn shop guitars. But I guess the last one was more recent somehow. This one's older, and I think I can see why he did it again, because he decided to cover it with an acoustic guitar while blasting the song at full volume, so you can't really hear... I kind of hear the acoustic there. That actually sounds kind of good. Sounds like a new Vampire Weekend. But let's hear how the pop punk happens. This guy fucking loves the song Marlboro Man by Blink-182.
I mean, someone had to, right?
Yeah. I mean, do you? I'm waiting for you to say that it fucking rules, and it's not happening.
I don't
Is it because these covers aren't up to your standard? What is wrong
Yeah, I
with you?
mean, I think sometimes like the covers like bring something out in the song, and so far mostly we've heard like bum 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 bum. So like the closest we came to like the song being good in a way that I was like, oh yeah, that's was early on, like again 5-6 hours ago when you played the kind of harmony that appears on the one of the demos. And I was like, oh, that's good. But like, I don't know that we've made it to that part in the song yet. And I want to be very clear. I do not want to. I don't wish I was hearing more of these covers.
Well, there is, luckily for you, only one left.
What?
And this one might be the one to save it. Yeah, there's not very many of it to begin with, so that's why I thought we needed to play them all.
I thought honestly, I thought that we were like going to be like multiple outdoor drum covers of this. Like I was like, man, I gotta pee. Kind of. Should I let you know? But this is great. This is fantastic.
Yeah, I was just I wanted to freak you out, but no, this is the last one, and this is again just one of those beautiful scenes of suburbia that you love to see.
I remember doing this
Just
with Mike's. Did you do this ever?
Yes, and that's the thing that I'm so excited about, because I don't think we've ever talked about this before. But before we get to the star of the show here, I'm going to say in general.
Did you remember that? Like,
so
have you
many...
thought about that? Had you even thought about this before you saw this video? Like, honestly,
No,
did you remember this being a thing?
It all came back to me.
Oh, like
It all came back to me as soon as I saw this. Yeah.
I feel like I'm like a character in a movie who had amnesia, and it's like we're 85 minutes in, and all of a sudden I just remembered like that you and I have spent an entire fucking life together, and I love you with all my soul, and it's like that feeling I'm feeling about this microphone right now. But please say what you were going to say, and then we can talk about the star of the show.
Yeah, I think we gotta build up to that. I just love. Maybe it's not a garage, because in order to do the microphone thing,
No, this is a basement. This is a basement,
feeling.
which is where we practice in my basement, so I had this.
Yeah, me too. But this basement is being run like a garage. I mean, look at all those fucking chemicals on that shelf is all I was trying to say. There's so many boxes and then like so many poisonous chemicals, like every kind of WD 1 through 39 and WD 40 is all on that shelf, if you know what I mean. It's like all, and then there's some sort of car thing on the top right. Do these people not? Is this what you do if you don't have a garage? You just the basement becomes. Do they park in the basement too? You know?
Yes, like, yeah. If you could pull the camera out, you would see a very tiny car in there.
I see a Christmas tree on the front left as well.
And
I fucking love looking at these stills. Are so fascinating.
One of the cardboard box behind the singer is, I think, for an aquarium, which is. Again, great suburban accents.
You know? This family is just... But yeah, so the star of the show here and the real wave of nostalgia, which I'm curious if, like... Because we're pretty fucking old at this point. I wonder if young bands are doing this too. But I think when you're a teen and you start a band, you get so excited that you have drums and you have amps and you have, like, an old busted karaoke mic that your uncle gave you or you found somewhere... And you get so excited and you go to have practice and then you just realize, like, fuck. The mic, I can't play guitar and hold a microphone at the same time. And what's a mic stand? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And so what you always do to improvise is you push up the panel in your basement suburbia, like popcorn ceiling or whatever. And then the little like rafters that connect the panels, you loop the mic over it and let it dangle and hang there. And then you kind of sing into it from the bottom.
By doing Lemmy basically into a mic that is just hanging from the ceiling.
So good, man. I would love to know people's stories of that. I remember, like, maybe I don't know how it happened. I mean, maybe I left it there too long or something, but I remember like totally destroying a mic cable by doing this, and then I would have to like duct tape it to get the mic to work to do that or whatever. Like, it's so such a classic move.
My memory of doing that with those mics was like before I ever had like a real mic that would actually plug into an XLR, and you had basically like a glorified karaoke mic, and it was like a solid, like the mic was connected to the cord, and then the cord just had like a 1/4-inch output on the back. Like it was not even like a real microphone and real microphone cord. So I don't ever remember breaking a cable that way because it was just like whatever $10 sort of quasi microphone setup. Oh my god, like that to me is like one of those things where like it should be like one of those like only 90s kids will remember. Like I have not.
Yeah.
Like if you just did that as a line drawing, like if you showed me that, I'd be like, holy shit, it's my basement.
I know.
And it was one of those things that like you thought you had invented, like jacking off or whatever. Where you're like, no one's ever done this before. Like no one's ever had this problem and solved it this genius way of hanging a mic. But like seeing it here, you're like, this is this weird universal thing where like people in all different places, like we're all the same, Josiah.
But that's
we're all
what I'm trying
the
to figure out. Like,
same.
do people do 13-year-olds do that now or no? Because this is 2009. This video, so maybe like. Now, if you want to start a band with your friends and you're 12 or 13, you go on WikiHow, and then it tells you all the things you need, or you watch a YouTube video. Like, I feel like this is because we were all too stupid and disconnected from online that we didn't realize we needed a mic stand, maybe. Because theoretically, someone somewhere is starting a punk band with their friends right now, and they're 13. Or does that just not happen? They just play Minecraft.
I think they just play Minecraft where they become SoundCloud rappers. And they just buy Blink 182 type beats instead of making Blink 182 type beats themselves. I don't know. This is like,
I don't know.
Fuck, this is so sick.
I wish there was a name for this too. It's like that's what makes it even more special. Is that like
that's I'm looking at like
other than just hanging the mic through the like what and what's that kind of ceiling called? Is that called popcorn panels or something? I feel like I've heard that or like.
I don't know. Everywhere I'm trying to look this shit up and I'm just getting like the kind of stuff that obviously Google would serve me now. Where I'm like microphone hanging from ceiling and it's like how to record a podcast with a microphone. It's like fuck off.
We should do an app where we like hang. We should hang our Yetis from the ceiling like this to get that energy.
Totally. The other it's also a lot of how to record your meetings. Hang it from the boardroom. Like.
Okay, you know what makes this even better and more incredibly teen is that Actually, in the avatar too, the kid is wearing a different outfit, and the mic is still hanging
Oh,
there. But this
yeah.
username, the username is I hate Mr. Johnstone.
Yeah, which
the
like for
ultimate
sure was
teen.
their teacher. Yeah,
I hate Mr. Johnstone too. Piece of fucking shit.
I'm
Trying
with
to
the
stop
boys
these
on
kids
this.
from rocking.
Did we listen to
okay,
this
so
yet, or
here's-
have we just talked about it?
We haven't listened to it yet. We just
So like
talking
literally
about,
about
it
to
for
be
like
like,
15 minutes.
so Josiah, what are your final thoughts? And I was like, wait, I don't think we've heard this.
We just cured our own Alzheimer's from seeing this hanging mic. Everything came back to us. Okay, here we go.
Go after the second chorus.
They're making animal noises, giggling. I was hoping they'd have the taste to skip the jazz thing, but they're not that cool, I guess. Here's the
No,
actual
they're
punk
still
part.
fools.
I mean, that's also the truest representation of that mic, is that the mic placement / the shittiness of the mic / the fact that you're always running it through a 15-watt PV practice amp or something is like
Yeah.
you go to all this effort setting it up and then you can't hear it at all. And you're
course,
like
yeah.
getting a weird cramp from squatting to try to sing into it, and it's just like it's completely pointless, and it's just so beautiful.
Oh my god. So Josiah,
What happens at the end
are-
of this video? There's a bunch of wait 1 sec. Someone takes the camera and starts going around the whole room and looking
the guy,
at all the boys.
the main guy,
And
no, he picks up the mic and he shows off the other guy playing drums, just rocking.
Oh, damn. These kids are so cool. And his MTV shirt, I believe, is a pair of jeans that are being zipped down into an M shape. And then it's an MTV shirt that's made out of jeans.
These are cool, fun kids who are my friends.
I mean, the thing is, like, I love looking at teen basement practice spaces, and I don't think I would have ever been able to figure out how to find them without this podcast. So maybe
true.
that's my final thought. I'm glad that I've replaced smoking with something much better for me, which is just going online constantly.
Yeah, I think that's better. I don't know if it's better for you. My final thought is I hate Mr. Johnstone covering American Idiot by Green Day. And that's it. That's how I feel.
Welcome to Blink 155. John Olson, a.k.a. Inzane Johnny from Wolf Eyes. What's up? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, man, what's up?
What's going on today? What are you up to?
Oh, just it's a beautiful fall day, getting ready to pick up my kid from school, and then I'm going to skate until sundown.
Sick.
Yeah.
What about, like, because the thing about you that, you know, some people know you as a sick noise musician. Other people might only know you as, like, an Instagram beast. So I'm curious, how much of today have you spent on the gram?
Oh, not long at all. If I wasn't on this phone call, my phone would already be off.
Really? So how do you
Yeah.
how do you keep that, like, boundary? Because I feel like if I had your following, I'd be so addicted to my phone even more than I already am.
No, I mean, I go days without it. I mean, my whole entire skate crew and everybody, they know that I never have either my phone on me or it's off. Like, normally an ideal day, either it's like weekends I can have it completely off, but weekdays I can have it on for as little as 2 hours, tops probably 4.
Wow. Did you just enforce these rules on yourself?
Instagram's fucking stupid. There's no reason. There's no reason to, get on fights or anything like that. It's like the, how long do you spend on the cartoon page of a newspaper? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no reason to have it run your life at all.
Yeah.
And that goes with any social media thing whatsoever. I've just always been consistent, with everything. And, I open it up, I look at my messages, and then I turn it off. I don't read the stupid comments or anything like that.
Right. I think you've cracked the code because, you're still killing it on there, but you've just that's amazing. I respect the boundaries. I wish I didn't look at my phone so much, I guess.
Yeah. It's just, I live right by MSU campus, and it's just nonstop zombies just looking down at your phone. Like if you're out with people and you're doing stuff, just turn that fucking thing off. It's just... It's another consciousness. You turn it off, it's done. I don't think about it when it's off at all.
Amazing. Well, I guess back to kind of the memes though. The reason I asked you on is because I have seen you repost some memes, a few. I don't even remember the specifics, but I don't know if you endorse everything you post or not, but I get the vibe that you're maybe not the world's biggest Blink-182 fan. Is that fair to say?
Well, I don't know. I didn't really know anything about them, and then I listened to this song. And was this Marlboro Man on a major release?
No, this is from their demo. I thought we'd go deep back into the cassette days with Inzane Johnny.
Because this just it sounds like the Happy Flowers or something. It sounds like a bunch of dudes got stoned and just hit record. It was I didn't realize they did stuff this stupid.
Right. So what's
if you had a drummer that didn't have that super hard 1-2 unswinging drum thing and got someone who just drools in the corner and can't play at all. This would be like a legitimate Killed by Death classic,
Right, exactly. Well, that's what I've been saying all along is these old tapes. I think every big major label pop punk band should have all their early cassette tapes reissued on a Killed by Pop Punk or something compilation.
My buddy saw NoFX on their first tour and said that they were completely inept,
Yeah. And so that's,
but I'm not gonna hang out and listen to an all demo or the Adolescence or anything like that,
Right. So generally, because people associate you with a specific kind of style of music, I guess. What's your feel with melodies or kind of clean? Just sort of major label alternative, I guess you could call it. How are you feeling about that when it was happening in the 90s and 2000s, and sort of what's your take on pop punk?
Well, here's how it went down. When I was a kid, the skaters listened to Misfits and JFA and Bobby Sox and all the sort of angry, aggressive stuff. And then all the people that would hang out with skaters that didn't have any other friends were goths,
Yeah.
So, Smashing Pumpkins and all that stuff, it's just not happening,
Right.
Melodies are fine and stuff like that, but when you got Lee Morgan and Clifford Jordan and dudes that can actually play in a mode or something like that, I don't know. If you're talking about hooks, just go to Flying Nun. That's all there is for that.
Right. Yeah.
But you listen to the Adolescence or DI, it's they sound like professional musicians.
Right.
And the production is just horrible. But Blink-182, it's got that nasally kind of vocal stuff. It just doesn't, the rhythm. There's no rhythm there.
Right. Yeah. That's a lot of people who hate Blink-182 and hate pop punk. It comes back to that nasal voice. People just can't get past the nasally singing. Does it just sound like whining to you, or what's the deal?
It just sounds like somebody who has a cocktail of ice cubes and mayonnaise stuck in their tighty whities. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It sounds like the guy in front of you in an oil change line that's taken way too long. It's the sound of annoyance, and it's the sound of someplace you don't want to be.
Right.
But that being said, that passport thing that NoFX did, that like fake tour documentary, or whatever, that was amazing.
Right. So you still
until they played, you know.
So you're willing
it's
to
like my good friend Twig said, you know, he said about Grateful Dead, he said, "Oh man, everything rules but the music," you know.
Man, that is that's such a contemporary take because I feel like Grateful Dead, just the merch alone is cool right now.
It ain't even that cool.
Right.
But I mean, I had no idea that they had this kind of weird stuff. I mean, this Marlboro Man thing's just a wreck, you know?
Right. So I guess for people who might not be tracking with you, are you saying that you're connecting with the ineptitude of the song?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that is keeping it from being like a Killed by Death classic is the drums. You know, the lyrics make absolutely no sense. I mean, it makes sense that the aliens were creeping right around the corner, and the YouTube's playing all these other demos from them. They just look insane, like this transvestite Buddha thing. You know?
Yeah.
I think these guys were like, you know, geniuses. You know. Like, you know that you're from Toronto, right?
I actually live in Montreal, but my co-host's from Toronto.
All right, you know, fucked up, right?
Yeah, of course.
I heard a rumor that their whole thing was like a PhD project and like doing a punk band. That it was like somebody's thesis or something like that, and that just kind of changes everything, you know?
Right.
So I think that, you know, like, have you ever seen a lot of like horror rap dudes, like Twisted and that kind of stuff? Like, those dudes seem like they're really smart and they're just dumbing their stuff down like 30%, you know, which is it's just tough to watch, you know. So
and that's the vibe you're getting from Blink-182 is that they're smart and dumbing it down, because I feel like they're sincerely stupid, and that's what people connect with.
I mean, this Marlboro Man thing, it's like a Burroughs cut up, you know? I don't even see where, I mean, there's kind of a couple cigarettes mentioned, but it's just weird, you know?
Yeah, it's like a mess.
It's like a Fluxus poet piece or something, you know?
Also, I didn't remember that there's like some sort of weird, I get it's not, I mean, I don't want to disrespect free jazz, but there's something vaguely jazzy at the start, I guess. Yeah, I mean, there's like feedback. I mean, you know, add cardboard drums and it's like a Dead Sea song or something, you know? Right. Oh my God. It's like, I mean, how is this different than the School Jerks? You're raising too many good questions at once. I almost can't keep up. I mean, I love that this is connected with you in this way. The main reason I wanted to do it this week is because we kind of been thinking about cigarettes lately, and in culture they're sort of talking about Juul pods versus cigs, and I just read today that cigs might make a comeback next year, and I was like, damn, let's do the cigarette song. But it's kind of like, you're right, they don't even talk about cigarettes at all. Yeah, I know. You know Ivan from School Jerks and what the hell is the name of that band? The D-beat band he was in. The fuck were they called? Toronto band. Oh fuck. Something with a K. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you would have played this for me and been like, oh, dude, it's like the School Jerks, or it's like Urban Blight. Yeah. I'd be like, oh man, it's pretty cool. Yeah, drummer needs to loosen up, but it's all right. Yeah. But going back to cigarettes, I brought a pack of Newports to Vancouver, and I never had so many friends in my life. Right. Yeah. Because they banned them there. Because teenagers are smoking them too much. Yeah, we're not allowed. I don't think we're allowed most flavored cigs up here in Canada. That's too bad. Those were hard to quit. But I tell you, box of Newports, man, that's what's up. So you still, So what's Inzane Johnny's cig take? You recommend them? You think they're rough? If I went through a period of Newports because my skate crew, all they smoke is Newports. You know? Yeah. But I got super blown out one night, and I came home, and my wife and daughter made me watch a thing on what cigarettes do to your lungs.
You know,
shit.
and I was super, super blown out stoned, and I haven't really smoked since then.
Wow. So you smoke you don't smoke any kind of nicotine products?
No, I think Juuls are just dumb, and I'll have a spirit. Like, I was at rehearsal last night, and I killed an American Spirit. But no, I mean, I got nothing against them. They're super gnarly, but Newports are cool, But at the end of the day, like, you're just paying to kill yourself. It's like suicide,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Marlboro? I mean, we're talking about the Marlboro Man.
Marlboros are good. They burn real fast. My homeboy Drew smokes the short Marlboros, and those things are gone in like a second,
Right.
But if you get a 100, like a couple of my skate crew smoke the 100s because they're bougie. Those are cool. If you're gonna do it, you might as well go the distance.
Yeah, exactly. Don't cheap out if you're paying to kill yourself.
But you guys in Canada smoke the native I guess not Native American one, the I forget, Moscow, so Montreal always has the big bags rolled up of the Lucy's.
Oh yeah. I mean, I haven't smoked in a few years, so I'm way out of the loop. I used to smoke Belmonts, so that was
all right.
Me.
Yeah.
But what about like the Marlboro Man as sort of an Americana character? Like, I feel like there could have been a sick punk song about the Marlboro Man, and they just kind of missed the mark here.
Or they absolutely hit the mark.
Right.
I think there's something going on here,
I think I just turned you into a Blink-182 fan, possibly.
You mighta. I'm definitely going to trick a couple of rare punk heads being like, oh, man, check out this Underwear Heads demo. And they'll be like, oh, it's pretty cool, man. The drums kind of suck, but it's cool. Do you think they invented the lip ring?
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. I never really considered it, but it's very possible. They definitely were up there. They're definitely some pioneers in that area. It's weird because I feel like they're more like, because you're in a skate crew. I mean, and I like that you're a skateboarder, but you don't fuck with Blink-182. And I think people thought of Blink-182 as being a skate punk band, but it was more like they're a surfer band, and maybe that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, West Coast. I mean, in the Midwest, ain't nobody surfing nothing but the web. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So, for instance, there was a dude skating with us on Sunday, and when he dipped, he put on an all hoodie, and everybody just kind of counted their fingers and just kind of went a different direction. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, I mean, I feel like your animosity towards all, I can understand. You're thinking they're basically a prog band, right? Is that the vibe?
They wish. I mean, there's no way that they're. I mean, prog's a whole different thing. All are just. They think they're. I mean, I don't know. When's the last time you got super blown out and listened to Descendants? They suck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you don't want to be someone in your 40s talking about the Descendants and all. That's just not playing out. It's like all of a sudden you look down and you're head to toe in Dickies and you look like somebody who's roading for suicidal tendencies, man. It just doesn't play out, It ain't a good look.
You're not wrong at all, my friend.
The only real pop punk stuff I liked was like that who's that Cruise Records had that they had a bunch of pop punk bands that were pretty good. One was like Car Boy, or I'm not thinking Boy Dirt Car. There was I meant that, that dude O.
Yeah.
I met him when we played with Sonic Youth. I met him, and it was me, him, and Thurston backstage. And O was like, had the bag. He looked like Eric Dressen. You know what I'm saying? And
I got to ask you about O, because O seems to be the person that everyone is friends with or respects, but he actually produced Buddha, I think, or Cheshire Cat. He produced some early Blink stuff. Like he was in the pop punk world, but he also like seemed to be down with the Heads as well.
I mean, the funny thing was, he was Big Drill Car. When I was a kid, I thought they were okay.
Right. Yeah.
But it was me, Thurston, and O, and I was super blown out. We were hanging out backstage. It was West Coast. Yeah, I think I was wearing like a Necros shirt, or I had no shirt on or whatever. And Thurston was like, "Hey man, what'd you think of Wolf Eyes?" To O, and O looked at me dead in the eye, and it was like silence for a minute. And I think he looked at me and he said, "Oh, I thought it sucked." And I thought that was just the coolest thing ever. You know what I'm saying?
God. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you feel about people who say that, like, noise or whatever, free music is just kind of, people who aren't, their ears not tuned to it and they think it's all the same?
Well, I mean, there's something to be said that it all sounds the same. You gotta, it's like, in these polarizing times of the left and the right, where you want to be is in the middle where you can understand both things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a dude that's into the Chemical people, and then you got a dude who's into Roscoe Mitchell. At the end of the day, you all want to get a latte together somehow,
I just think it's interesting because a lot of people will complain about pop punk or Blink-182 and complain that, the drums are all the same, the voice is all the same or whatever. It's kind of possibly one could argue there's a parallel there.
Well, I mean, the production, it's that heavy kind of Butch Vig production, but West Coast,
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, the West Coast is weird, It's, I don't know, it's like kind of on the wrong side of isolated sometimes,
Right. Yeah, the Dickies thing is definitely very weird. Like, why is In-N-Out Burger like a definitive punk aesthetic on the West Coast?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that doesn't make sense,
It's very weird. So what's like the final verdict on Marlboro Man by Blink-182 from Inzane Johnny?
I think it's completely insane. I mean, I'm finding I've already listened to it like 3 times in a row and it makes no sense, And the comments on it are incredible. I want to check more out,
Right. Was there any comments that stood out to you?
I mean, there's one dude right here. Non-carbonated anarchy says the lyrics are just wrong. Joe Schmo says California fans won't find us here. That's amazing. And whenever I see these West Coast dudes, I think John Brannon.
Yeah.
He said no shorts ever on stage.
Absolutely.
And I have these guys ever worn pants, And I feel bad. Who's the drummer? Who's Blink-182 drummer?
Okay, at this time there was a dude named Scott Rayner who was just kind of more simple, dumbed down drumming, and then when they got really big, they had Travis Barker, who's still their drummer.
I've heard that he's a really nice guy.
Right.
And I've seen him, like when rockers like have to get forced to do like one of those like online courses things. You know what I'm saying?
Like masterclass or something?
Yeah, that, the comments on those are always amazing. The dude from Rage Against the Machine, like those comments are hilarious, But when Travis did one on drumming, it was like the comments were just so brutal,
Well, how do you feel? So that's one classic maxim: don't ever wear shorts on stage. What about kind of like nice guys? Too bad about their band. Like, it doesn't. Nice people are usually in pretty shitty bands, I think.
Well, I mean, we got to talk about the UFO thing. I mean, you can't be a nice guy and be completely insane about UFOs. They just don't work. You know what I'm saying?
So you're not a believer in the UFOs?
I'm an absolute believer, and I think nowadays in the 19 you mentioned the 182, and everyone talks about the UFO thing. I mean, that's trumped all their whiny hooks. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
And you add Marlboro Man and like Uranus and whatever demos they got. It's kind of spelling itself out as kind of a cool legacy.
It's true. I mean, that's the thing. It can't be denied.
Didn't he get kicked out of the band because of the UFO stuff?
He basically quit because of the UFO stuff, and then Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio replaced him, and so now he's just like full time making movies and writing books and researching alien shit and like writing
That's
albums
genius.
about it. Yeah,
That's amazing. You know what I'm saying? You think he wears shorts still as much
at the Pentagon or whatever.
Yeah.
He's walking in with some billabongs on just to chat.
Yeah, with like a Jackass shirt or something.
Oh my god, amazing. Okay, well, before I let you go, is there anything you want to plug?
I mean, if people are gonna be like, oh, punks can be weird. I mean, there's a whole universe ahead of them. You know what I'm saying? There's. Right. There's the Happy Flowers. There's just so many other bands that make no sense. I mean, insensical music allurement is incredible. So if you're a Blink 182 fan looking for the weird, I mean, your tomorrow's beautiful for you.
Absolutely. What about any of your personal? You got anything you want to let us know about, like Wolf Eyes going on tour or anything?
Oh, we're going out east on Monday, and then we're going to Texas in early November.
Okay, sick. Well, thank you so much, Inzane Johnny.
Oh yeah, man! Thanks for turning me on to the Marlboro Man.